Hey guys, what's up? It's Ray and welcome to this new video. This video is going to be a guide to the Armadyl section of the God Wars dungeon, namely kree'arra. Kree'arra has a combat level of 580 and has 2,550 life points. It has 3 attack styles, ranged, magic and melee, and is actually the only boss, except for next in the God Wars dungeon, that can use all 3 attack styles. The range attack can hit up to 715, the magic attack can hit up to 210, and the melee attack can hit up to 260. Since the range attack is the most devastating one, we'll definitely be praying range the entire time. And the melee attack can only be used once no one is attacking the boss. Since this is a solo guide, if you are eating, or if you are using your enhanced Excalibur or anything else, the boss will probably walk towards you and start hitting you with melee. Make sure to do your thing as quickly as possible and start attacking it again, because the melee attack can be quite accurate and quite fast. It is aggressive once you are in the actual boss chamber, and note that you can only attack this boss with magic or ranged. If you're trying to attack it with melee, it will pop up with a message saying that it won't be able to do that. Now, before the actual graphical rework, it was still flying in the air, so I guess it's still taken from that, but it's now actually walking over the ground. Still, it can't be attacked with melee, so just try to take magic or ranged, and ranged being the most effective one. The only place to kill kree'arra is in the God Wars dungeon. To get to the God Wars dungeon, you need to go via Trollheim. You can either teleport there with the Trollheim teleport spell. You'll need 63 magic and the Edgar's Ruse quest. You can also go there just walking from Berthorpe, but that's quite a long way, so if you want to do this quite effectively and get many kills on a day, make sure to have this spell unlocked. If you want to use the Trollheim teleport tab, you can also do the Love Story quest. Otherwise, you'll just have to use the runes. The runes are 2 law runes and 2 fire runes, but as most people know, if you want to do the drop pickup trip, you'll need 4 of each, so you can teleport back there and make sure you pick up your Ceridome and Brew, which you drop there. Now, before heading to the gear and inventory setup, I first need to show you a couple of things that are really useful, and if you have them, you should definitely use them. First of all, we have the Dreadnip, which can be obtained by killing 450 Dominion Tower bosses. The Dreadnip can be deployed even if you have a familiar out. It's kind of a secondary familiar. But be careful, if you want to deploy a Dreadnip, you'll be stuck on the Dreadnip screen, and before actually deploying it, you won't have any access to your inventory or teleports or potions or anything like that, so make sure you use it at the right time. And also, in the boss chamber, since you are using range, you might want to run away from the boss sometimes every now and then. It also drags you away a little bit or knocks you out a little bit. You might go a little bit too far from the Dreadnip, and once that actually happens, the Dreadnip will lose interest and will just disappear. If not, the Dreadnip will probably disappear after about 4 or 5 hits. The second thing is the Enhanced Excalibur. The Enhanced Excalibur can be obtained by either completing the Heart or the Elite Seer's Diaries. And once using the 100% spec bar, it will restore 400 life points over time, in bunches of 40. Now, in combination with the Overload, which damages you for 500 points, it's a really effective weapon, and once you have it, it's definitely worth using. But be careful, if you've only done the Hard Seer's Diaries, it will only heal 200, so it won't heal you the entire thing. Now, for the last thing, we also have Swift Gloves, which can also be obtained by killing Dominion Tower bosses. This time you need to kill 500, and also a couple of them have to be specific. Now, this is a great range glove. It will be able to hit for 2 bolts in 1 game tick. Sometimes does that, not every time, and also has a great range attack bonus. If you don't have these Swift Gloves, don't bother taking Goliath Gloves, just take the Barrow's Gloves. But be careful, these are degradable, so if you don't want that and have to kill 5 bosses every time to keep renewing them, you can also just use the Barrow's Gloves. Now, for the requirements to actually solo kree'arra, I have a list made up here, and this list is my personal things that I think where it's useful for you to solo kree'arra, and anything lower than this doesn't mean it's not possible to solo kree'arra, but it just means that I don't recommend it because it's just not worth it. 95 plus range, 90 plus defense, 74 plus prayer to use rigor, 90 plus magic for the defenses, 96 plus Herblore for overloads, sorry about that, 88 plus summoning for the unicorn, and I also recommend 96 plus for the Packyak, 80 plus dungeoneering for your first chaotic, but I recommend way more, so you can also buy the rigor prayer off of the reward trader, and also maybe a killer crossbow, eagle eye, and there are some other also really useful things you can buy with dungeoneering. And of course 60 plus strength or agility to get past the builder, as I said before, to get into God Wars Dungeon. Now for the lower level gear setup, as you can see on screen, I've just thrown in some gear together that looks for me like you are poor and need some extra cash. This is the lowest level gear setup I recommend. If you have anything lower than that, it's just not worth it to go solo Armadyl. So I either recommend going with the team or do some other money making method that will get you better gear. Now we quickly go over the gear because this is not the most important one. We have just range attack bonus with the Boreal D'hide and the Armadyl, rune crossbow, and we do need the actual magic defense of the Eagle Eye Kite Shield. If you don't have an Eagle Eye Kite Shield because you're not that good at dungeoneering, you can also use a Spectral if you have the money for it. I have an Avis Accumulator. You could upgrade that to an Avis Alerter, or if you have a downgraded version, which is the Avis Attractor, you can use that as well. As I said before, you can use Swift Gloves, but if you just don't have that, you can use your Barrows Gloves. I have Snakeskin Boots. You can upgrade those to Armadyl Boots, Ranger Boots, or maybe even Glaven Boots if you have the money. I have an Archer Ring. If you have the Imbued version, that would be even better, and if you have the Onyx Ring Imbued, that's the best option. I have 3 sets of extreme ranging potions. These are, in my opinion, the lowest thing you can do. If you have normal ranging potions, just not worth it. I really recommend taking overloads, but if you don't have them, well, I guess this is possible as well. I have the Prayer Renewal. Normally it's used in combination with the overload, but in combination with the extreme ranging potion it can be used as well. For my bolts, I have Ruby Bolts for the first half of the kill. The special of the Ruby Bolt will take 20% of the current life points of the opponent, and the Diamond Bolts just to finish it off. These are extremely high level bolts, and with the special you can also drain the range defense of the opponent. As I said before, you can use the Enhanced Excalibur. If you don't have it, no need, especially with this setup, you don't have the damage of the overload, so it's way less useful than in the higher level setup. As you can see in my War Tortoise, I have a War Tortoise spawn, which is the lowest I really recommend. In my inventory I have a combination of 3:1 ratio from Restores to Bruise. I have an extra War Tortoise pouch in my inventory as well. Please don't have this in your familiar, because if you are in combat, you won't be able to take that pouch off of your familiar and put it in your inventory to renew it. And if it does die, you need to pick everything up while killing the boss, which in this gear is just not worth it. I have a unicorn as well. As I said, this is the bare minimum, just for some extra longer trips. If you don't have a unicorn, it's really just not worth it to go. You can still go, and you still get lucky, but as for a pretty good amount of kills per trip, it's just not worth it. Of course, my unicorn scrolls to use the special attack and a quick teleport out. Of course, if you want to go there, make sure you have a Trollheim teleport tab in your inventory as well. Now for the high level gear and inventory setup, as you can see on screen, I've gotten pretty much the maxed out gear, of course except for Pernix and Divine, but seriously, if you have Pernix and Divine, just take that. I mean, who's going to watch an Armadyl guide if you have that? But as for the rest, it's pretty much the highest level setup possible. As you can see, I have Armadyl, full Armadyl there. I have the Vampirism aura. If you want to use any other aura that suits you, definitely feel free to. I have a Fury. You could take an Amulet of Ranging as well if you want to downgrade that, but I just like the Fury. Just overall it's better. The Avis Alerter, I have Diamond Bolts all the way since I have 99 ranged and I have the best range bonus possible. I'm gonna hit anyway, so Diamond Bolts are definitely just better. I have a Chaotic Crossbow and an Eagle Eye. I love dungeoneering, so I have both. I also have Ringer. I have Swift Gloves and Glavens. Again, the Swift Gloves from the Dominion Tower and Glavens, yeah, they're about 13 mil right now, so it shouldn't be too expensive to get those. And I have an Onyx Ring Imbued. As for my inventory, I have 3 Overload Flasks and 3 Prayer Renewal Flasks. I have 100 Dreadnips. I have an Enhanced Excalibur. I have 4 Prayer Potion Flasks since I don't need the 3:1 ratio anymore because of the overload. I have 8 Super Restore Flasks, and the rest is just normal brews. Also my yak is filled with brews. I have another pack yak pouch to make sure I don't run out. I have a unicorn pouch for if my pack yak runs out of stuff I can summon that, and I have scrolls to make sure I have or I can heal with my unicorn. Also have a quick teleport out, and again, as I said, if you want to go to Trollheim, make sure you throw in a Trollheim tab in there and do the drop pickup trick, so your inventory will loop back to like this. Now, just on a quick note, both these inventory setups are my personal setups with my stats. Just a quick note that if your stats are a bit different and maybe your gear is a bit different, your inventory and everything will be messed up, so just yeah, switch around for yourself. Make sure you have your own gear and inventory setup figured out. Just go a couple of trips and you should be fine with the gear and inventory setup. You should know how many super restores towards brews you'll need and how long you'll last with overloads. So just, yeah, try to figure that out for yourself, but this is just a guideline to go with the first time. Note that while choosing your gear, you should definitely take this into account. Because in the God Wars dungeon there are 4 main gods, and all monsters in this God Wars dungeon will all be aggressive to you. Now every monster is also, yeah, it belongs to a certain race in the dungeon, so any of the 4 gods. And if you wear an item of that certain god, the monsters belonging to that race will not be aggressive to you. Now since we're only going to Armadyl, we'll only need the protection of the Zamorak and the Armadyl god. Now if you wear any of the next items, Pernix, Virtus or Torva, you'll be protected against all of the monsters within the God Wars dungeon. Of course, if you start attacking a certain monster, he will start attacking back. But make sure that if you're choosing your gear, you take this into account, that you'll need at least a Zamorak and a Armadyl item. If you don't have the Zamorak item, you can also lure the Gorak, which is in the KC room, but I just recommend taking a Zamorak and a Armadyl item. What I did, I just took Torva legs in my inventory and just took the Armadyl chain skirt for if I went to the boss. Or you can use these as a life point boost as well. These are of course not the range setup, but this is the only thing I have. It will protect me against all of the monsters in there. At the entrance there will also be some Ceradomin monsters, but you can just walk past those. And if you have Prey Mage on, you shouldn't get hit too much. Now once you've chosen your gear correctly, head over to the God Wars dungeon as shown before and head south. Now, since the update of 2012, you don't need a mithril grapple anymore if you want to grapple over the chasm. I'm not sure what you exactly do, but you throw a rock somewhere and it will teleport you across. There you'll see avian seas, and that are the monsters that you want to kill. Before heading over to the Armadyl boss room, you need to kill 40 monsters of their respective gods to get in the boss room. Now since we're going Armadyl, we need to get Armadyl kill count of 40. Now in the top left corner, you'll see the interface of the kill count in the God Wars dungeon, and once you leave the God Wars dungeon, this will be reset to 0. Now we need to get the Armadyl kills to 40, and in the top left corner you can keep track of how many kills you've done so far all the time. Now what most people don't know is that the Zerite bow, also a drop from Nex, is an amazing way to get your kill count extremely fast. Most people don't like Armadyl because Armadyl is really slow KC compared to something like Bandos and Zamorak. But if you do a Zerite bow, you can get KC in about 7 minutes, and that's without a Steel Titan. I do use Rigor on KC, that's why I also use my Overload and my Prayer Renewal, just to get a little bit faster. But that's your own opinion if you want to waste that money. But I know that the Zerite bow is an amazing weapon to kill the minions in the boss room, and also the avian seas. Once you have your 40 kill count, head over to the boss room. Now before you actually go in, make sure to do your checks. Your prayer check, make sure your quick prayers are set on protect from range, rigor, or eagle eye and steel skin if you have those, and protect item if you don't feel comfortable. And also have your left click option on your summoning familiar on take BOB if you're using a yak, and also your healing aura scroll on the unicorn. Now, the boss itself is not the only thing that is in the boss room. There's also 3 minions named Flock Leader Girin, Wingman Scree, and Flight Kalisa, all with different attack styles. The melee one can hit up to 260 and can easily be deflected by protect from melee, but since you are praying range the entire time, I wouldn't recommend that during the boss kill. There's a range minion, which you don't need to worry about. This can also hit to 260, but since you're fully protected from the range attacks of kree'arra, you will also be fully protected from the range attacks of this minion. And lastly, the mage attack will not be hitting that much since we're already having the best mage bonus against kree'arra, so this one will not hit that much either. Now once the boss is dead, make sure to kill the melee first, then the major, and then the ranger. Most people tell different, but from my personal experience, and I've killed tens of thousands of Armadyl bosses, kill the melee first, then the mage, and then the ranger. There's also an altar in the room there. Make sure you use this altar every 10 minutes. This altar will not be able to use if you are in combat, so make sure to half kill a minion if you are not confident that you will make the whole kill. And also deploy your Dreadnought every time so the kill will go faster. Now, as I said, if you are using the lower level setup and you're using the ruby and the diamond bolts, make sure to switch half kill, otherwise the kills will be very slow. And if you're a bit of a cheap ass, you can use broad tip bolts on the minions and even on the kill count as well. Now, if you need to overload mid kill, don't worry, you can definitely do that, but make sure you keep your HP high, since with all the minions and the boss itself, it can hit up to 700 with a combo, so make sure you have your health quite high. And with a combination of an overload, which hits multiple hundreds, 500s on you, then you can definitely die very easily. Now, before you go in the boss room, if you pot, make sure that if you're not using an overload, you drink a Cerdoman brew first, then a super restore, and then your ranging potion or your extreme ranging potion. And also in the boss room itself, if you need to heal, make sure to drink 3 doses of Cerdoman brew, then a super restore dose, and then your ranging potion or extreme ranging potions, because the Cerdoman brew will temporarily put down your stats or bring them down, and the super restore will bring them back up to your maximum level, and then the extreme or normal ranging potion will boost them back up to the maximum level for your potted level. Now, this is pretty much everything you need to know, and if you actually do this for a while, you might actually get lucky and get a drop. Now, of course, you want to make some money, and the only way to do that is to get drops. Now, I've shown some of the drops on screen right here. There are definitely some more, and also on the update of 2012 there were some drops added to the drop list. First, we have the Armadyl helmet, the Armadyl gloves, the Armadyl boots, the Armadyl chain skirt, the Armadyl chestplate, the Armadyl buckler, the Armadyl hilt, and all the Godsword shards. Now, if there's one thing I hate, is that in guides people don't say their drop rates. Now, of course, you want to know how much money you're going to make, or on average how much money you're going to make. Now, of course, this is my average, and I've done tens of thousands of Armadyl kills, and these are the drop rates I kind of came out with. I round them up, round them down a bit, so yeah. As for the hilt, I have a drop rate about 1 in 150. For the chain skirt and the chest plate, I have a drop rate of about 1 in 110, and the helmet is 1 in 90. Now, for the boots, gloves, and buckler, I don't really have a drop rate table yet because these are recently came out. But as for the drop rates I have right now, is for the buckler I have 1 in 150. For the gloves I have 1 in 200, and for the boots I have 1 in 85. Now, these are not that accurate, but this is just what I got, and these are definitely not that reliable. But as for the helmet, the chain skirt, and the chest plate, the hilts are definitely reliable since I've done so many of them. So yeah, these are the drop rates. Of course, it's going to be different for all of them, and of course your drops might be different. You might be even luckier than I am, or you might be really unlucky and you'll be dry for quite a while. Now, again, as I said, on the kill count you also get adamant bars, noted, where you'll make some money off of, and you definitely won't get a drop every trip, so make sure you don't lose confidence and you don't be sad about yourself like what the hell's going on here. Just hang in there, the drops will come, and you'll definitely make some money all the way. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. I spent a lot of time on this guide, so please let me know in the comments below with either a nice comment or something I can improve. And of course, if you like the video, give this video a like. If you like more of my content, please check the subscribe button and make sure to subscribe to my channel to be notified about any video I upload in the future. Again, as I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys for my next video. Goodbye!